The hide is the caribou hide. The frame is the birch tree. These elements come from our nene, our land, that connect us to our land. So always remember that as Dene people, no matter where you come from, no matter where you come from. Remember our ancestors that are gone before us. Remember them today because I know they're looking down on each of us, showing that, making sure that we're all good to each another today. Not just today, tomorrow. Always be kind to each another. Always remember that. There was a church back here. I remember every Sunday they would come out, and there was a hill there on the side. All our elders would sit out there after the church was over. They would all be telling stories. They'd always be laughing. They were never mad at each another. That's what I remember with our elders. So again, we're going to do a prayer song. Just pray in the best way that you know how to pray. Must see. And just pray in the best way you know how. And please stand up, take your hat off. Must see. Masicho, Masicho. One fast one. One fast one. Huh? Oh, thank you.
One fast song?
Yeah. There it is.
Hey, hey,
Hey,
hey, hey.
hey, eat you. Eat you.
What's it?
Masicho.
What is it?
You keep that.
What
Put
is
it in
it?
here.
What is that?
Hold it. That's secret.
Hold it for now.
Hold it for now. Masi. Yeah. Masi. See? One fast one. Drum dance. All right. You're more than welcome to drum dance. One drum dance. We're going to do one quick drum dance, ladies and gentlemen.
There was an orange in
Yeah, no, I need the blood orange.
Need the blood?
Yeah, take those back. Yeah, I want the blood orange ones. Yeah, no, keep that. Take those back. Yeah. I want the blood orange ones. That's why I was asking. Yeah.
Then my dad second. Dad second.
My mom. My mom's dragging.
Come on, let's
All right. Somebody. Okay. All right. If I could get all you boys and girls just backed up over there, please. If I could just have you back up, please, and thank you. We're gonna have a drum group here, folks, starting things off, and they're also going to be performing here. They're from Southern Alberta, ladies and gentlemen. Championship dancers here, all champions. Even this young man sitting here with the cowboy hat. Yes. I'm going to introduce one of my brothers, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to do a grand entry right now. I'm going to introduce one of my brothers, Patrick Mitsewing, world champion, fancy dancer. Give a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much. Super fan Magoo, you know, one of the, if not the biggest fan of the Oilers, but he doesn't know I'm a big fan of my brother here as well, man. I'm a, what would you call that? A super fan of Magoo? And I'm so happy to be here, guys. Dansa, Nawagamagantak, Wichiwaganak, Gateyak, Oskayak, Patrick Mitzing Nitsigasun, Makwasagagana, Nochinia, Nanaskamun, Natomeg, Babisquian. Hello, friends and relatives. My name is Patrick Mitzwing. I come to you from Loon Lake, Saskatchewan by way of Red Deer, Alberta. And we got a couple of awesome world championship level dancers that came all the way up here. It was a beautiful drive. We seen a lot of our relatives on our way up. We saw the eagle, we saw the buffalo, we saw the cranes, we saw the bears. It was so awesome, a nice drive. And my brothers, you know, they came last minute too. 17-hour drive to get here. They drove last night and they got here 3 in the morning. So I'm happy they made it here safe. But we're going to start off this beautiful day with what we call our grand entry. It's part of our Boat Simowin, our dance that we have that's been given to all nations. Even nations way up here was a gift that was given from all nations combined, called our Power, our Boat Simowin. And we got our drum, and I want to say thank you, the Naskumtanan, to the Dene singers here. You know, it's always awesome to hear those drums, different styles of drums. Everywhere we go and we travel, I was told that that drum is healing for us. It's that heartbeat. It reminds us of our mother when we were in our mother's womb. That's where we heard that heartbeat, that drum beat. And that's why it calls on us men. You know, when we talk about healing, it's good for us men to get back to that drum, because it was our woman that gave us this gift of this drum. And we call our woman our isquil, and it comes from that word iskatil, that fire. And when I was driving up here, I seen, you know, some of the forest that burnt down from the fire. But guess what? With that fire that comes from our woman, you seen that new growth come in. It gave birth to new life, right? And that's only what a woman could do, and that's the power of a woman. So we're going to get our dancers lined up here. Grand entry to my left. Come right here, guys. We got our men's traditional, Marcus McAdam, all the way from Whitefish as well, Mistai CP, and he's going to be leading in our dancers. If there's any drummers, any of you young men that want to come and sing, I invite you. Our drum is open for any young men that want to come. Any women want to do backup singing as well, you're welcome to come up here, because it's awesome to be around that beautiful drum. So we're going to be bringing in our dancers, are just lining up. Go ahead, Joe. Come sit. And we got a good show coming your way. Come beside me right here, bro. There we go. All right, here we go. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're going to do a showcase of dancing, but I like to tell stories, knowledge is power, the knowledge of what all of these dances came from an origin, that Uchi Win. Where did these dances come from? And I want to tell some of these stories, and that way I could leave you guys with something, you can, whenever you see powwow, you're going to be like, I know where that comes from. I know the story of that place. So we're going to start off with our ladies' traditional dancer. And as you can see, is a representation of our matriarchs, a representation of our women. And we got Marissa, who is showing that representation of motherhood by carrying a cradle board. And if you traveled back into time, you would know that our women, they're from different cultures. You can go to Apache, Dene, you can go down to Mohawk territory, Cree territory. It doesn't matter. Our women and our grandmothers, they had their babies with them like this, and the babies would observe what was going on when the women were doing their things. And that was our first form of schooling. Our education is having our children a part of everything. But our men, they went out for hunts, they went out for battles, they went out for wars. And our women would become very worrisome, hoping that the men would make it back safely from a battle, maybe from stealing horses or getting on a bison hunt or an elk hunt. And the mothers would stand on the outside of their tribes, and they would dance and they would sing songs with prayer songs so their men would make it back safely. And maybe it was their husband that went out to war. Maybe it was their brother or their nephew or their son. These mothers would dance and sing and hope and pray that the men would make it back safe. So we got Marissa, champion dancer, doing our ladies' traditional dance, and she's gonna do her rendition of that woman's traditional. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. She's going to just take a little water break, and we're going to do a change-up song, something that has a little slip and slide to it. And this is called a double beat song. And this double beat song is a smooth song and a transition song for her to showcase a different style of this dance. All right, just waiting for her high sign. She says she is ready to go. Here we go. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. The beauty and beautiful nature of our matriarchs, our women dancer. And now we're going to go on to our hunters, our gatherers, the ones that told our stories of battle, that told our stories of war. We got Marcus McAdam doing our men's traditional war dance. And our dancers, you know, when these warriors were like our soldiers, and they would go out and they would go into battle, and they would be our protectors of our camps, the protectors of our tribes, and they would come back. And our people were so creative. They told the stories through art. They told the stories through dancing. And we have our men's traditional dancer that's just going to do exactly that and tell his stories of what he saw out there in the battlefields. Maybe it was from his mushum, these stories came down to him. Or maybe it was from his dad, his fathers, and his brothers. But he's going to be telling that story of the men's traditional. Woohoo! Let's give him a round of applause. You know, dancing is a lot like any other sport out there, track and field, football, even like hockey, Magoo. You got to train all year to make sure you're in shape, ready to dance. Sometimes these dancers are dancing 10 songs even at a special. You know, they have to dance over and over again. Try make it to top 10, try make it to top 5. Then they got that final battle. So, you know, they're working out, they're doing all their stretching, all their plyometrics, all their sprint training, weightlifting. But he's just getting fastened up here. And we're going to do what is called a sneak up song. And a sneak up song, you'll know our men's traditional, they never dance in a straight line. They dance kind of like in a serpentine manner, kind of to sneak up on their enemies. And that way they can't be seen when the enemies are looking. But we got a good song coming your way by way 3. Got it? Here we go. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Round of applause. Now, before we moved camps, we moved a lot with the animals, we moved a lot with the weather. We were one with nature. But before we headed in a different direction, we'd send our scouts, and our scouts would go make sure, is it safe to head north, east, south, west, right? And these scouts would go out and make sure that there was no enemies ahead, or else they would go out and make sure if there's animals ahead that we could head that way, and so we could sustain our tribe. And this dance, it kind of evolved into what we call the men's grass dance, and we owe it to our Omaha that gave us this dance, the grass dance, our Omaha. And this is like a warrior, our Gichita, something like our Marines, what we would call in the army. And these dancers, they also have a blessing to them because they would come out before a powwow and they would dance and pat down the grass to bless the area before, we have any type of ceremony or any type of gathering. But we got Ari Mitzwing here, champion dancer, and he's going to be doing his rendition, his style of the men's grass dance. Round of applause. Grass dance style, Ari Mitzwing. Just going to take a little bit of a breather. I don't know, organizers, if there's any H2 oxygen you could bring. Oh, right. Yeah, something to drink. All right, here we go. He's just going to water up a little bit, make sure he's tied up. And then we're going to do what is called a crow hop dance. If you ever witnessed, and kind of observed a crow when he comes maybe on the side of the road there and eating some roadkill, but it would kind of hop away, right? And that observing the way that crow moves is a really cool style, we call it the crow hop. But coming from our crow people, are in our Cheyenne territory down that way, they have this unique style called the crow hop dance. And we're going to do this with our Omaha style dancing of grass dance to do that crow hop style of a dance. Good job, my man, Ari. He's actually a world champion fancy dancer as well, going down to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and placing down there the world's largest powwow. And you know what? Back in the day, the powwow, a lot of the men just practiced what we call Boatsamoan or powwow because they would come back from war, like I said, and they would sit around a campfire and they would tell war stories and they would sing and dance. The women, they started pushing in and said, hey, we want to know what's going on. You know, what are you boys doing? And the men would be like, oh, you guys get away. This is a man thing. But the women said, nah, let us show you. We could dance just as fast. We could dance just as smooth as you guys. And the women started to push in. You know, back in the day, I would say that was the first women's rights movement, right? To have our women kind of push in and say, we could do it just as good as you men. And so we got this style called the woman's fancy, and it's that power of that woman, that resilience of a woman, that iskatel, or esquel. And we got Vatsana Mitswing Moccasin here, and she's going to do her style of the woman's fancy. It's also a tribute to all our winged creatures, our butterflies, our eagles, everything that flies with wings. Here we are with our woman's fancy. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Fast and furious. Right on, my girl. Woo! That was quick. That was fast. You know, we've been powwowing. Powwow this season just started for us in April. Actually, we've been traveling since January. Went down to California, Pachanga, California. Been working down there with their powwow, all the way to Albuquerque, and then we went around a little bit in Saskatchewan. We came from Driftpile, Alberta last weekend, and now we're here in beautiful Fort Smith, Northwest Territory, Treaty 8 territory. You know, we got to visit Uncle Gabe's Friendship Center, learned a little bit about that, and we had lunch with Francois. I don't know if you guys know Francois. We got to meet an elder here. It was awesome to hang out with him, and he told us a little bit of stories of the area. But beautiful, beautiful place. All right, Vatsana, come on out for our second song. And we're going to do again what we call that crow hop style dance song. What do you think about that? Good job. These tribes used to fight amongst each other, right? They used to be fighting, but the one tribe had an advantage of having the horse, the misatim. So it was a one-sided battle. Eventually, they sat down and they had treaties, and they said, you know, let's stop fighting. And what they did when they sat down, they smoked their ospagan, or their pipe with the stemao, their tobacco, and they shared horses for songs. And then with this sharing of horses for songs, they realized when they sang these songs, these horses started to move around. They started to dance whenever they sang. And the elders were seeing that, but also the kids were seeing it. And the kids would start dancing like the horses were dancing. And the elders said, hey, you kids, don't dance like that. That's for the horses. But you know, our kids, sometimes they don't listen when they're having fun. They just keep doing it. And they started to dance and mimic that horse. And when they seen that, they're like, man, this is cool. And it developed and it evolved into what we call the men's fancy war dance. Another story that this aligns with was with the Wild West show. When the Wild West show went overseas, they wanted to showcase some of our dancers from all over North America here. And Buffalo Bill, they would dance, and all the people were watching, all the Munyawak, the white people were scared. They're like, oh, this is scary. I don't like what we're seeing. And so the Wild West said, well, let's jazz them up a little bit. Let's make them a little more colorful. Let's make them a little more faster of a song. And that also was a help development of what we see here, the men's fancy dance. But we got two good champion dancers here, and they're going to be showing their grit, and they're going to be showing their speed. Hey-cha! Round of applause. Nice and fast and nice and furious. All you kids and all you adults, you know, that you guys are watching some of these dances, you know, take notes of the footwork, take note of what you are seeing, because we're going to have an intertribal dance after this where we invite everybody out here to come and dance with us, right? So we got one more good song coming your way, and this is going to be a good shake-up song for these boys. All right. Marissa, can you hold it? I'm going to need two.
Okay, hold on.
All right, boys, you ready to go? Need a high sign? I got a high sign from Jowski.